It looked like Caitlin Clark is standing up for herself and letting her presence be felt very, very strong. Caitlin Clark has declined to take part in a three-point contest. But to me, this is a strong signal to the WNBA that Caitlin Clark ain't rocking with y'all. And I don't think any Indiana Fever players.
I mean, they banned this girl's meme. Banned her point. Her emote. Banned it from other companies that the WNBA are partnered with. Banned it from being used, man. This is crazy.
Caitlin Clark declined. Aaliyah Boston not invited. Perhaps the biggest miss of them all, the viral sensation, the second biggest name in the WNBA, the point princess herself, Sophie Cunningham, who's among the top 5 in three-point percentage from three-point range. Sophie Cunningham doesn't even get an invite to the three-point contest?
Nobody saw this coming. The real drama of WNBA All-Star Weekend wasn't on the scoreboard at all. Fans were locked in, ready to watch Caitlin Clark torch the arc in the three-point contest. Instead, she quietly pulled out. And just like that, the questions started flying. Was it really just an injury? Or is there a bigger story the league doesn't want out? Add in the uproar over Sophie Cunningham missing the event, and things get even messier. So what exactly is going on behind closed doors? And more importantly, what happens next? Want me to keep going in this style if you have more of the script to send over?
Just when we thought enough records were broken for the day. Not only does USA get record-breaking viewership and ratings, CBS, come on down. We're going to break some records for you and raise your viewership ratings as well as only the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, can do. CBS receiving their highest rated WNBA game throughout the entire season at the hands of Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, the WNBA got shoved the middle finger from...
Talk about bad timing for the league. For 2 straight years, they've watched Caitlin Clark turn into the biggest name women's basketball has seen in a generation. And this weekend was supposed to be another huge moment. The three-point contest set up as can't-miss TV.
You guys for years, this dump of a league is allergic to profit. I've been telling you guys for years, the WNBA operates as a charity, not a business. You see, when you operate as a charity, your mentality is completely different. Charities are concerned about feelings. Charities are focused on emotion. Charities prioritize things like friendship, unity.
And just like that, the narrative flipped overnight, from who's showing up to who's missing. That's exactly the kind of headline no league wants heading into its biggest weekend of the year. The top name on the list backed out. And right behind that story, someone who never even got an invite in the first place.
Player of the Week honors. It's the second time this season, the 5th time in her career. And you heard what I just played there. Her desire is to make her team great. Her desire is always focused on winning, on her team, on the fans. She always brings the fans in there. And she gets Player of the Week honors. Now, here's the main thing. Player of the...
So here's where Sophie Cunningham steps into this story. And fans were genuinely confused by the snub. She's been draining threes at one of the highest rates in the league this year, ranking right up there in the shooting stats. Not just that, she's also turned into one of the WNBA's fastest rising stars off the court too.
Like Caitlin Clark, or the reason I can support Caitlin Clark is because it's not about race. Who cares that I'm black? Who cares that she is white? It is not about race. And that's why I feel like the media, the WNBA, and just people in general has just lost the plot. This is not about race for me, and it never will be. Caitlin Clark is not the face of racism. If you've been here over the past 2 weeks, you have heard me state that plenty of times. If you are not emotionally mature enough to separate the nonsense from this woman, then it's really no conversation.
Nobody expected the biggest story of WNBA All-Star Weekend to come from players who weren't even on the floor. When the three-point contest lineup dropped, one name was missing, and fans immediately had questions. If this event is supposed to bring together the league's sharpest shooters and biggest draws, how does one of the hottest names in the sport get left off the list entirely? That question got even louder once word spread that Caitlin Clark had turned down her own invitation. Now, to be fair, there are plenty of reasonable explanations here. Clark has been banged up for stretches of this season, and protecting her health heading into the second half of the year makes total sense. Even analysts close to the Fever have pointed out that managing her workload was likely the real reason behind the decision. But that didn't stop the internet from building its own theories. Fans started connecting dots that may not even be related. They brought up Sophie Cunningham getting snubbed. They brought up the ongoing frustration over how Clark gets officiated night after night. They brought up moments all season where fans felt like the league dropped the ball protecting its biggest attraction. Whether any of that actually adds up is a separate conversation, but the perception alone became the real story. And that's the tightrope the WNBA keeps walking. When a huge chunk of the fanbase already feels like Clark hasn't been treated fairly, every single decision turns into fuel for more arguments. Every snub, every no-call, every marketing choice gets viewed through that same lens now. Look at the actual three-point contest roster. Ryan Howard, Marina Mabrey, Azzi Fudd, Bridget Carlton, Didi Richards, and Janelle Salon. Solid shooters, no doubt. But you'd be hard-pressed to find a must-watch, casual fan-grabbing superstar name anywhere on that list. Then a second controversy landed right on top of the first. Sophie Cunningham's celebration, the one where she points at opponents after a big shot, which had already turned into a viral moment across basketball social media, reportedly got flagged by the league, with restrictions placed on how it could be used in official promotions. However people feel about the celebration itself, plenty of fans read this as the league getting uncomfortable whenever one of its breakout personalities blows up in a way nobody in a marketing meeting planned for. And the irony here is hard to miss. Leagues spend millions trying to manufacture viral moments. And here's one showing up organically for free, and the response is to pump the brakes on it. That irony matters because sports today aren't just about stats and championships anymore. Clark has become the kind of athlete whose presence alone turns a random Tuesday matchup into a national event. Just look at the numbers. Her Fever going up against the Liberty pulled in nearly 2.6 million viewers on average, peaking at 3 million. Name another player in this league pulling those numbers on a random road trip. Meanwhile, Cunningham has carved out her own lane as one of the most recognizable personalities in the league, simply by being herself and creating moments fans actually want to talk about. So a lot of people looked at this whole situation and saw a missed opportunity. The league had a chance to build a genuine event around its two most talked about names, and instead, the entire conversation got hijacked by who wasn't there and why. And look, whether that criticism is completely fair or not, the truth is the build-up to this three-point contest ended up being dominated by controversy instead of excitement. That's about the last thing any league wants heading into one of its flagship weekends. That's exactly why so many fans read Clark skipping the contest as something bigger than just passing on a shooting competition. To a lot of people, it felt like a reminder that the league's top stars carry real leverage. Most players have always embraced that responsibility, because they know growing the game benefits everybody in the long run. When a player feels like the relationship with the league is solid, saying yes to these promotional moments is easy. But once trust starts cracking, even a simple decision gets picked apart, and fans start hunting for a deeper meaning behind every single move. And to be clear, nobody outside Clark's inner circle actually knows the full reasoning behind her decision. Health, workload, personal priorities, maybe all three. Those are completely valid reasons on their own. But regardless of the actual motivation, the outcome speaks for itself. The face of the league sat out one of its biggest showcase events, and a lot of fans were genuinely disappointed they wouldn't get to watch one of the game's best long-range shooters compete on one of its biggest stages. So the spotlight swung away from the players who did say yes, and landed squarely on the ones who didn't. Instead of debating who'd walk away with the win, most of the basketball world was busy debating Clark, debating Cunningham, and debating how this whole selection process even went down. And maybe that ends up being the real takeaway here. In today's sports world, the biggest headline doesn't always come from what happens on the court. Zoom out even further, and the picture gets even more interesting. The WNBA has never had this much national attention, and a massive chunk of it follows Clark wherever she plays. Every single road game turns into an event now. Arenas sell out. Ticket prices spike. TV ratings blow past expectations. Even rival franchises have openly admitted the financial boost that comes from simply hosting Indiana for a night. None of this takes away from the talent spread across the rest of the league, but it does prove one player has single-handedly widened the entire audience. And that's what makes this whole situation so ironic. The league has spent years fighting to convince mainstream sports fans that women's basketball deserves a real seat at the table, and that fight has made serious progress. So when the player pulling in the biggest TV numbers steps back from one of the league's marquee events, the story stops being about the event and becomes entirely about why she's not there. If this really was about protecting her body, that's completely fair. Athletes across every sport skip exhibition events all the time to stay fresh for games that actually count in the standings. But fans who've been locked in all season believe there's more going on underneath. All year long, there have been non-stop arguments about how Clark gets officiated. Every hard foul gets replayed. Every missed whistle turns into a trending topic. Every physical scrap on the floor sparks another wave of online arguments. Agree with it or not, that perception is out there, and it's not going away. Again, nobody knows Clark's real reasoning except Clark. But the fact that this conversation even exists says a lot about how much trust has eroded between a chunk of the fan base and the league office. Some fans saw the celebration restriction as the league trying to quietly shut down something that had gotten too popular too fast. Others pushed back, saying leagues regulate branding and celebrations all the time, and this really isn't as unusual as people are making it out to be. Wherever you land on that, it added yet another layer to an already messy week. Picture hyping up a big movie premiere, only for two of its biggest stars to skip the red carpet entirely. The film might still be great, but all anyone talks about that week is who didn't show up. That's basically the situation the league found itself in here. Give real credit to the players who did accept their invitations. They earned those spots with strong seasons, and they're going to put on a genuinely fun competition. But unfortunately, most of the conversation leading in wasn't about them. It was about who was missing. And instead of building hype around the actual event, social media filled up with what-if scenarios, with fans imagining how different the whole thing could have looked. What kind of numbers could this event have pulled if two of the league's biggest names had gone head-to-head in a dramatic final round? Honestly, those hypothetical conversations became almost as entertaining as the real contest itself. One thing is impossible to argue with, though. Whenever Clark makes a move, the entire basketball world stops and pays attention, because her influence stretches way past any single box score. Same goes for Cunningham. Whenever she becomes the center of a conversation online, the whole league notices, because she's built herself into one of its most recognizable faces. The fact that both of them dominated headlines without even stepping on the court proves something bigger. Influence in sports today isn't just measured in points and championships anymore. It's measured in who controls the conversation, before the game even tips off and long after the final buzzer. Sometimes the biggest win is controlling the narrative without saying a single word. And if nothing changes, every future decision like this is going to get picked apart, compared, and debated all over again. That's the real challenge facing the league right now. Because in the social media era, every choice outlives the event itself, and fans never forget the moments they believe could have been something much bigger. So here's the real question heading forward. Can the league actually repair this relationship with its biggest stars, or is this just another chapter in a story that refuses to end? Drop your take in the comments. Do you think Clark made the right call, or did the league drop the ball here? Hit that follow button so you don't miss what happens next, because this story is far from over.